Something that maybe fitted in some ways with what kind of poetry I perhaps was expecting from a making a bunch of assumptions perspective, but also something that would offer something a little bit different. So I would like to share with you the Ballad of the Outlaw Louisa Lee. She took the troopers by surprise way back in 1885 when she appeared, no warning from nowhere. This feisty broad was strong and tall, with quick wits she was on the ball, a bold young woman on a coal black mare. Of 4 sisters she was one, with a kindly dad and a loving mum, grew up thinking everyone the same. Adventurous by temperament, saddled her mare and off she went to explore the land. At 16 she was game. She found out there life not as fair as she'd expected. In fact, 'twas rare for girls to rule their lives by their own will. Her fury bubbled up inside, her purpose would not be denied, but didn't see her destiny until a scarlet woman in distress. To her throat a knife was pressed, too scared to scream, too paralysed to fight. Louisa Lee came round the corner, pulled her pistol when she saw her, shot the brute, his dying blood shone bright. Now that she had crossed the line, could not go home, would not do time, decided on a crusade for her kind. She'd stand up for women and girls and boys who feared to face the world, within the law or not, she didn't mind. She'd ride down laneways just in time to save young girls from violent crime and boys from beatings clearly undeserved, because they weren't the manly men demanded by society then, defender of the voiceless and unheard. She killed when 'twas the only way for her to triumph on the day, her goals and methods always fair and true. She gave her foes an awful fright, roughed them up and taught them right with lessons tough and merciless when due. Louisa was not the marrying kind, loved her freedom above such binds, but she found affection in abundance. She'd safe houses where she could take shelter and enjoy a bit of that helter-skelter, traditional forms and fancies quite redundant. In spite of church and law invective, she distributed contraceptives, rallied servants and whores for better pay. Nemesis of crime and law, she faced injustice where she saw it, wily to live and fight another day. Girls who found themselves in trouble cried out to her, and on the double she'd take them off to safe and careful hands. Or when their babes they wished to keep, but mum and dad thought that too steep, stood by those girls while they defied demands. Louisa guarded suffragettes, those stood over debts, girls coerced to wed against their will. Women beaten by their men and then in need of defence when their only path to safety was to kill. One day, it came round 20 years she'd been fighting without peer, up and down the country on her mare. It's time, she thought, to make a break, not live hunted, always awake. I'll start a new life, far away somewhere. The word got out that she was off. Resentful crooks informed the cops. A last campaign began to bring her down. But at the port, she dodged their traps. In the fray, shot off their caps and leapt the gangway, took ship northward bound. There she set up her estate. No noose or gunshot was her fate. She lived to be a ripe and burnished age. Herded cattle, grew some grain, built schools, a clinic, brought the train, and paid the workers all a damn good wage. Surrounded by lovers, both women and men, workers, their children, and dozens of friends, she lay at peace, content to breathe her last. Louisa Lee was a wild outlaw, put her best fist forward and then her jaw, and there's not much more that any of us could ask.